Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the show. Uh, just covering that with you today, my backstory. Um, just a lot of memories there that comes together and the why. So I want to take you on the path of why you should be working with a financial advisor. And f- for purposes here, why should you be working with Gregory Ricks Total Wealth? Think about that. And that's what we're trying to get to is make sure you're getting a little bit of help from that standpoint. One of the things I would kind of like to mention at this point is maybe, how about this quote? Our mission isn't just about managing money, it's about clarity, confidence, and helping families build lasting wealth. And that's what I think about this is an extension of you is the family in that case, that if you're going to do wealth well, what about your family doing wealth well also? And if you're leaving money behind, how are they going to do? And you want to be able to plan for that in confidence. I had a discussion recently. It comes up where, I've had meetings in the past where somebody said, well, I, I want to die broke. That check to the mortuary, I would like it to bounce. And I'm not so sure that's going to work out well. And especially if you intend for it to bounce, I wouldn't want to run out of money before you ended up at the mortuary. So you should expect to leave behind money and leave those behind in good shape and maybe even have it where they think good things about you. Now, in leaving an estate behind, I'll say from this other point is if they're going to be, I don't want them mad at each other. So I'd kind of leave it all put together in a way that they get along. And if they're going to be mad at somebody, yeah, be mad at you. But probably not for long because you're leaving them something behind. And I want to kind of start with this. Normally, I kind of talk about this on the back end, but I'm going to start with this first. Is what inspired me to become a wealth advisor, and for us to become a wealth advisory firm, and I'll share with you what I find rewarding from that. My passion for financial education began with answering the callers on the show. It didn't actually begin there, but that's kind of even before the show because one thing when I started doing the show, I kind of found it a little bit scary. The podcast not so much scary, but started doing the shows kind of scary. It's kind of what I got to take live callers. What I didn't realize is, as a financial advisor for over the years in different forms, is when I sit down with a family, you know what I'm doing most of the time? I'm answering questions. There's always questions. And kind of the core is, am I going to be okay? What is our path forward look like? What changes are we need to make? Will my income last? Is probably the biggest question. Will my money run out? And that's what we are there is about answering their questions. And now we're guiding families and seeing their confidence grow as they reach their goals. It's probably the most rewarding part of what we do at Gregory Ricks Total Wealth. So, in this next phase of talking about our show topic today, is why work with a financial advisor. So, after 30 plus years of guiding clients, I believe everything starts with clarity. You should define your goals, understand your risk tolerance, and build a foundation with trusted guidance. One of the most important parts of that is that risk tolerance. You know, people think about their risk differently. They think of their own risk differently than their tolerance actually is. And that's something we have to work through, because there is going to be volatility. And as an advisor, we want to help people make good decisions in regard to volatility, so they're not going to make a bad decision, like all of a sudden start pulling money out, which is going to injure them or lock in losses. Our team ensures you're educated and positioned for long-term success before investing a dollar. And that risk tolerance is, once again, is really important. So you've got to have your goals defined, which what are you wanting to accomplish, and how we're going to invest. And I'll simplify this. I always kind of think of investing as a 50-50 proposition. If you've heard me do the show or talk about this over the years, I kind of call it the invest 50-50, and it's kind of creating some type of balance. Everybody's not going to be 50 risk and 50 in safety, but kind of loosely think you're going to be somewhere about that. Might be 60-40, 70-30, or 20-80. You know, you're looking at how much at risk and how much in safety, and we've got to find that number that creates that balance, because as you get older, you're going to shift more. And think about this way in regard to volatility. I'm going to loosely give you this number here, but over the past 80 years, maybe it's 90 years now, but if you pick any 20-year period and go from beginning to end of a 20-year period that you pull out of the market over the past 80 plus years, any period, you start, and at the end of that 20-year period, you're going to be up 100% of the time. So that kind of gives you confidence that if you have a 20-year window of investing, the probability of it being successful is pretty high. If you've got a 15-year window, the probability of always being up every 15-year period is not 100%, and it'll be lower with a 10-year period or 5 years. So how much time does your money have to work? So that's another reason why we really want to talk about risk, why you have to work with an advisor, and they help you through that thinking and making sure you don't make bad decisions and you're properly allocated to make it through those periods. And I'll tell you, a down period, I don't mind. You know, what's rare is your 20-year down period. 20% down. 20-year periods, once again, is good. If the market's down 20%, I kind of like, wow, that rarely happens. That's an opportunity. The market being down 5%, 10%, we had a bunch of those. What even more rare is like when the market's 30% down. It's a scary time, but it's kind of that time. Well, all in, just kind of relating a little poker phrase there. When everything's in your favor, you might want to go all in. We don't want to do that for investing, but that might be where we add some more money to that when it's down. So you can be worried, but not necessarily fearful if you're prepared for that. And if you're taking income, that's why we want to be more on the safety side with where's your income coming from that standpoint. So those are some reasons why you should be working with an advisor and having somebody as a sounding board. Investing is a significant part of building wealth. And it's really important from that standpoint. Investing is at the heart of wealth accumulation and preservation. At Gregory Ricks Total Wealth, we integrate investments with tax strategies, risk management, and legacy planning so our clients' financial strategies are truly comprehensive and resilient. And that's what you should be expecting from who you're working with. How about a difference between investing for retirement versus investing for shorter term goals? Retirement investing is about compounding growth and protecting purchasing power for future decades. Shorter term goals require sharper focus on liquidity and risk reduction. Our advisors craft strategies that align with timelines, ensuring that the right money is available at the right moment. And you have to have that proper balance from that standpoint. The shorter term goals can't be exposed to market risk. If your money has a shorter runway to think about, you have to invest differently for that versus money that's longer term from that standpoint. Here's another question I get regarding working with an advisor. Are there different types, styles of investing that we often discuss with our clients? And I'd say absolutely. We cover everything from stocks, bonds, ETFs, which mean exchange traded funds, to alternatives like real estate and private equity. With our advisory team and analysts, our team brings a wealth of perspectives, helping clients access opportunities tailored to their needs and values. So once again, everybody's a little bit different and we treat everybody differently, and it's everything's tailored to your personal situation. Here's a question I've gotten often on the show over the years. When should individuals look to start investing? What are signs that they are financially ready? Typically what we talk about is kind of core things, is have a strong emergency fund. You have manageable debt and clear financial objectives. Then it's time to invest. But I want to talk about that for a moment, because of that question over the years, I used to say, well, we need to make sure you have an emergency fund first, and you need to reduce debt. And if you're carrying too much debt, you've got to really work hard at reducing that. I'd rather you not carry much revolving debt. I'd prefer you carry none, meaning if you use that credit card to buy something, revolving debt, shopping cards such as that, you pay it off each month. And I say that now because that's how I do it. But back in the day, I had to carry some debt as well. But one of the problems with that is we're missing out on compounding, because I used to say, well, once you get those things in line, then start investing. And I've changed that over the years. I think you got to kind of work on all of them. We've got to have emergency money. So you've always got to be working that and shoring it back up. So maybe there always should be some type of allocation to that. Because if you have emergency money, it's at times here and there, you're needing to access it, whether it's to replace tires on your car, fix a dent, something happened that you weren't expecting, deductible on the health insurance, those different things. The revolving debt, you need to pay it down, but you can't do so and not invest. One of the problems is you're missing out on compounding growth. I'll give you an example. Answer this question for me. What's the hardest amount to save? I'm going to use $100,000. That first 100,000 I think is difficult. What's the easiest amount of money to build up? That next 100,000. And you're like, well, why is the second 100,000 easy? Well, if you're averaging hypothetically 7.2% return, you've managed to build up that 100,000. 10 years later, another 100,000 is going to grow. That 100,000 is going to turn into 200,000. And what did you do for that second 100,000? You just let it sit there. And what did it do? It grew. So we cannot miss compounding. So when should you start investing? This month. You need to get something started and get it going so you don't miss the compounding. We can build up emergency savings. We can get debt paid down, but you can never make up for that lost time. If that's anything you get out of the show today, I think it's that, is make sure you're taking advantage of compounding growth. Our advisors assess readiness, helping clients transition from foundational planning to purposeful investing, subject to what your tolerances are and making adjustments as you go. And that's always, when we do annual strategy meetings, we're always talking about what this past year returns, last month's return. Oh, that's easy. You can just click of a button. You can go in your portal. You can see that real easy. It's more about, what do we see coming? What adjustments are we making? And then that's what you're using an advisor for. And if you've got changes and concerns and your thinking's adjusted, you're using them as a sounding board as well. And let's talk about particular opportunities, sectors, or methods of investing that I think can act as an introduction for those who are new to investing. We often recommend diversified index funds or exchange traded funds for new investors. These provide broad market exposure without overwhelming complexity. We also encourage dollar cost averaging as a disciplined approach we've discussed on our radio show over the years. And once again, I'll jump on dollar cost averaging here. And one of the reasons for that is just put money in every month, because you're dollar cost averaging in over time. So you got to take advantage of that. And if you're starting with small amount and you kind of new to it, get in a good diversified ETF and start, even if it's just that $50 a month, $100 a month. You can go set up an account and just get money automatically going into that every month. Here's a question I get most often, and why you probably should use a financial advisor, is, what are the common mistakes first-time investors make? Chasing trends, attempting to time the market, overlooking fees and taxes can derail the progress. At Gregory Ricks Total Wealth, we educate clients to avoid costly pitfalls and stick to a disciplined, goal-based approach. And timing the market, best way to time the market, put money in every month. And I mentioned earlier about what are rare opportunities. Like if the market's down 20%, that's kind of a rare opportunity. Down 30%. I know it's scary time, but it might be, put a little more in at this time. But don't panic, because this is money that you've said has a wide berth, meaning I have a lot of time for this money. This isn't my cash that I'm going to need next year or 2 or 3 years. That shouldn't be invested money. This is retirement. If you're in your 30s, when are you retiring? In 30 years. Okay. Yeah, market's down a little bit. Okay. It's creating an opportunity for you. And how about I'll help you with this one? What if you're nervous about starting to invest? It's natural to be nervous, but you don't have to do it alone. Our advisory team is here to guide, educate, and support you, whether you're investing for the first time or seeking advanced strategies. Confidence comes with having experts in your corners, having that guide, having that coach. You know, if I was going to climb Mount Everest, and I won't, it's too long of a flight to get over there. But just saying, if I was to, I know one thing, I sure wouldn't go it alone. You know, those that climb it, what do they use? They use guides, they use Sherpas, they use experts that know the terrain. That's one reason, maybe, just maybe, you might should use a financial advisor for these things and help you with these surprises and when volatility comes up, that you don't make a bad decision like, oh my God, what am I doing? It's going down. You know, when you're not sure what to do, to have that person to kind of give you that extra guidance there. Here's one thing about do-it-yourself investing. Our difference is in our experience, collaboration, and ongoing personal guidance. You know, I've been on the radio for over 16 years. I've been in the business for 30 plus years. This isn't my second or third career. I've done this my adult life. And answering questions, and for decades working face to face, we tailored strategies and proactive support far beyond algorithms and automated platforms. And now we have AI into the mix as well. And I just don't know that. I look at, think of AI like a robot. Are you sure you want to trust a robot? You can get information from them. Maybe you can get some guidance, some rules, some help there. But you need the comfort of having the chance to sit and talk with somebody and have those discussions there. And one of the notes I've got here is, you know, the value of personalized financial planning with a wealth advisor. We help the client navigate a complex business sell. Through the team collaboration, we mapped a strategy to minimize taxes, diversify assets, and protect their family's future. The relief and clarity they felt is what drives us every day. One of the things, whether you're thinking about retirement or you're getting that thought to sell the business, often we have people call us after they get into a contract. What worries me for you, if you are thinking about, like, I'm interested in maybe selling the business, what should I do? What you want to be careful of is who is buying it from you. They might be a bit more savvy than you, and you might not know some of the pitfalls, and you might need some guidance and help through that process. And that way you come out on a better side of that and a lot of times businesses are a sell that pays you over time. And I just want to make sure you're in a good situation and don't have any of the pitfalls that affect others. Same way for retirement. If you're looking to retire, when you start thinking about retirement, you probably should reach out to a financial advisor. I'm going to be your advocate for a financial advisor. I have a bias towards our firm. But if you're thinking about it, you should start having a conversation. Doesn't mean you have to start working with somebody, but you probably should, and start with a conversation and find somebody you're comfortable in working with so that this is a good outcome, because you may well be taking income from those retirement assets for a longer period than you spent accumulating that money. And think about your business. Maybe, you know, at some point dealing with employees and problems and inventory, at some point you might say, you know, I think I'm about done for that. Start doing some planning on that side as well. And both of these involve tax planning to where you end up with more of it than Uncle Sam does over time from here. Seeing if, you know, once again, this is why we became financial advisors, because we want to be there. We enjoy you having success, and it's wins for us seeing people that win with their money, and we have great outcomes. And that's one reason we look at ourselves as a family office, that we want to work with you, your family, your kids, your friends, business associates as well. And that's what we do here at Total Wealth. You can see right there on the screen to reach out to us on social media. And the email address is info@gregoryricks.com. And check out the events on our websites as well. We have ongoing events, educational events every month. And once again, if there's any way our team can help you, please let us know. And also reach out to the office, 504-832-9200. And the website is gregoryricks.com. Thanks for joining the Winning at Life podcast, our first episode. And please join us for more in the future. Y'all have a great day. See ya.